Next up on the podcast, we are very excited to have Leprechaun Films' Liam Brennan, also known Villanova class of 2024, correct? 2024? Good, I'm glad I got that right. Famous in the DMV for his work with athletes like Paige Buckets, Ozzie Fudd, I'm definitely botching that name, Cam
Nailed it.
Whitmore, Imani Bates, Jarris Walker, and like the list just goes on forever. So, Liam, thank you so much for taking the time. We start every podcast episode off the same. We want to give you a platform just to share your story, share a little bit about yourself. So, tell the people what you want to tell them. Let them know your story.
For sure. First of all, thank you guys for having me on, Brandon, Mac. Super appreciative of you guys, having me on and giving me a platform to tell my story, as I do for so many others. And like you said, I'll start from the beginning. Really, I just grew up playing basketball. My dad played at Lafayette and for the Irish National Olympic team.
Sick.
So, what do you say?
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. So it's always been my blood. I've been playing since I can remember. Was born in Chicago, but I moved to Northern Virginia here in Reston when I was like 2 years old. So born and raised in the DMV. And then, went to South Lakes High School, played basketball all 4 years there. And it was in, I want to say, so my junior year summer heading into senior year, my dad texted me this tweet out of Capitol Hoops. And it was like, looking for interns this summer, no experience required, and then like a list of all the different opportunities they had. And he's like, this looks really interesting. Like, I don't know what you would do, but you should look into it. And I was like, that does sound dope. So like one random afternoon, and like towards the end of the school year, I drove over to the Matha, met Mark, and he's like, I really fuck with you. I really mess with you.
You're good.
Love your energy. Like we definitely have a spot. And he's like, I don't know what everyone's gonna be doing yet, but I know you'd be a great addition to the team. I'd love to have you. And I was like, sure, like this sounds great. I'd love to be part of the team. I showed up, and a majority of the people there do like the camera work. So like a big part of Capitol Hoops is filming every single game at that summer league for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
They have every highlights of every game, etc. So that's what I started out doing. They have other people doing stats, clock, social media interviews, ton of different roles. But ever since that first day, and another reason why I wanted to do it is because my brother, who plays at St. Stephen's now, always plays St. Stephen's, was in that summer league. So ever since I started filming there, I really got hooked to it. I love being there, all the best teams there in the summer league. And then I made my first mixtape for my little brother Garrett. Loved it.
I'm about to say that better be a filthy mixtape.
I think I still have it up. It's probably still up. I was like, I'm not taking this down.
Good.
Not the best, but at the time I was like, this is fire. Made a bunch more for his teammates, friends that I knew in the league. It really that was kind of my foundation. Just I probably went to the math of 20 plus times that summer, just pumping out as much as I could for Capitol Hoops, for my newly started Instagram, Leprechaun Films, for the players. And that's where I found my really passion for it. Towards the end of that summer, actually, in that summer league, working in that summer league, another intern that Mark hired his name is Alvin Chapman, who does pictures. I'm not sure if you guys know him, Big Al Flicks. And he was like, yo, bro, like I do some pictures sometimes for DC Premier. Not sometimes. He was like their guy. He's like, I do pictures for DC Premier. Like, you should come with us to Atlanta for UAA Finals. I was like, UAA Finals? Like, what's that? I was like, I hadn't even heard that. I was like, what's that? He's like, bro, you know what UAA Finals is? I was like, nah. He's like, you got to come, bro. Like, so it took me, it took me like a month of convincing my parents to let me go. I was like, yo, like, this is Al, this is Mark. Like, here are some guys on the team that like, trying to get them comfortable with it. and they're finally like, all right, we believe you. And that was like one of the biggest things early on in me for my camera career. I remember the first video I made there, I was like, boom, like this is sick. Like I want to do this for real. Um, and yeah, UA was such a dope experience with DC Premier. Bunch of the guys on the team, such a great team. I remember their 16s, I think, went to the championship, coached by Jamal from St. John's. Or shoot, I don't know if he's at St. John's anymore. But yeah, Coach Jamal. And that whole environment, I was just like, this is so dope. I just fell in love with it even more. Went on from there that summer, continued making videos, bunch of football teams in the area in the fall. And then I kind of had I wouldn't say do it less, but like I was still playing basketball at that time, my senior year. So I would record when I could. I remember I go to my brother's games, and then a bunch of PBI games, the Matthew games. I love going to those games. Super hype, great atmospheres. I remember like one of my favorite videos is like the last video, the last game in PBI's old gym. It was like super packed. And then I'm pretty sure at the end of that season, around that time period is when COVID hit. So yeah, that's like end of my senior year basketball season. And then really COVID was a blessing and a curse because with nothing really going on, I was kind of forced to like, I mean, we're obviously sitting around, but I really put more work in during that time, just straight on the camera work. And I'm sure some other creatives had said similar thing, but it actually kind of worked out being a great thing because I thought at first when COVID hit, I was like, no AAU, no. I'm not sure if you guys know the Alhambra tournament at the end of this season. I was like, all this stuff's like, what's gonna happen? But it actually ended up working out great because I was able to connect with a lot of local DMV trainers. So many to count. Like you guys mentioned, a lot of gyms, District Sports Center, that put me in contact, able to do work for, like you said, Paige Buckets, Azzy Fudd, Luca Garza, just to name a few. And it was really just like the symbol is like one DM that I got from my guy KB, and he was like, "Yo, I've got like Terrence Williams and whoever else coming to the gym." I was like, "This is how I do stuff." He's like, "Let's do it." And after that, it was like one after the next, after the next, after the next, and it was just like, it was like boom, like I don't even remember, like there's so much stuff going on during that summer, which I could never expect it. I was just really blessed, to be honest.
So what were your parents saying during this time? Were they was your dad like you're welcome, I gave you that flyer, or was he like what are you doing?
Yeah, he was like, it was more of just like keep going. Like they're always super supportive. They were like when I was so I really started out using my mom's old camera.
What kind of camera?
It was a Canon Rebel, like T5 or T7, like an old Canon. I was like, I need to upgrade, and my dad's like, that's expensive, but like you really should, like if you wanted to keep doing this. And then he never like claimed it, like I told you, like, but it really was him sending me that tweet, which is crazy. I think about it. It's like a little like, and when we had been doing it, we just like see something, send it to each other. But it's crazy how it worked out.
Yeah, man. All it takes is a little spark sometimes to get the fire going.
Keep going. Go ahead. Sorry to cut you off, but it's not even.
Go ahead.
I feel like it could have been anything. Like, it doesn't have to be cameras. As long as you have like the passion and the consistency, like you can really do anything.
So this may just be your age and like where you've been and like the things that are presentable to you, but you seem to really have a niche, at least right now, for the high school sports scene. And I know you've been doing stuff for college and you've done side projects and contracting, I'm guessing, for college and professional sports and stuff. Do you think as you move on, you're going to continue to ladder like with your age and where you at, or do you really like that age group and like that setting?
Um, there will be a certain sense of progression, and I'm already kind of seeing it at Villanova.
Yeah, I
Um,
was gonna say, are you into like the Villanova at least basketball media scene yet, or have
yeah,
you
yeah.
gotten
So
into that?
I've done some work for Villanova athletics, and we're still trying to figure out um, a role for myself this upcoming season with the basketball. Nothing's set in stone yet, but there definitely will be. Um, I definitely will be involved in some capacity, and I'm not sure how that will affect my presence, as you said, like in the high school basketball kind of community. But I definitely still want to be involved, especially with my brother's senior season. I hope to get back for a couple games for sure. Um, and I mean that's really how I started. And I'd always love to come back to high school basketball stuff. Um, whether it's this season in the future, there's in the DMV a plethora of talent every single year. Um, but yeah, for sure. I definitely also, like you said, progression. Hopefully, I can build on top of these next couple of years and maybe see myself doing it professionally. But the attitude I've kind of had this whole time is like kind of see where it takes me.
Sure.
No definite goals in mind. Just kind of work my ass off, see where it goes.
What's your degree?
So I'm in the business school, and I'll probably do either marketing or finance, but I'm also going to do communications and like media studies as well. Uh,
So let's say hypothetically you graduate, right? Right after your senior year, you're presented with your dream marketing job and your dream content like art like photographer job. Which one you taking?
probably probably content creation.
Yeah.
I feel like that's been such a obviously school is important, but creating content has been such a focal point in my life these past 4 years. Um, and I've created so many connections through it too. Like just the people I've met through it, I'm like that I know that I will know for the past like for the next 10 years, all the other content creators, like I know that'll lead me so many great places. So I'd probably do that.
What's your
This is,
what's your dream
I
content creator
was gonna ask the
position?
same job. If you're taking the dream job, what is that dream job?
Yeah.
That's a good question. There's definitely a couple. So either shooting for a college team or a pro team, kind of being locked in one of those. But something I've also seen that really interests me is more of these freelance creators that are more kind of creating content just for athletes, like specific athletes. Um, I'm not sure if you guys seen his name is Link the World. He does a lot of
Yep.
content for D'Angelo
D'Angelo.
Russell and
Yep.
recently Kyler Murray. Like stuff like that is super dope and I'm really inspired by. Um, and who knows, in 3 or 4 years, there may be a whole new type of avenue for content creators.
Sure.
So we'll see. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So who did you because how old are you? 19?
Yo, 19.
19? How when you first started, were you looking at anybody already doing what you wanted to do? Like, did you take notes from anybody else? Did you get inspiration from anywhere? Like, where should the kids doing it today look?
For sure. Yeah. When I first started out, there were three main people that I looked at, and that would be Lou Rice, Chuket Forbes, and Free Alexander. Those are the three main people I looked at. I think Lou was more of kind of like the national like filmer that a lot of kids looked up to that have started recently, or like what I did. As he'd be filming for Bronny or Dior or whoever, and I think he kind of put filmmaking on the map, especially at the high school scene on the national level. So, and also the effects and the flows of his video were insane. So that was something I always looked up to. And then both 2K Forbes and Free Alexander, especially just the way they kind of established themselves and not market themselves, just knew how to kind of connect with the DMV was really inspiring. Um, I know Ryan, he would always texting me, mentoring me. He's been a huge help along the way. And then also the way that 2K Forbes connected with the community, especially in Gaithersburg, Montgomery County, was really special and something I tried to emulate in Northern Virginia. So kind of a combination of all those three guys and many others. Those are the three that stuck out off the top of my head, but there's been so many along the way. And there will continue to be even guys that are just like starting out now. I'm like, wow, that's like super dope. Yeah.
So I have a question now that we were talking a little bit about like the business side of things and you being in the business school and everything. Interested to know if you were talking to like a younger person or a younger kid who was interested in doing this stuff, what do you think from a business standpoint brings you to be successful? Would it be like unique content, quality of the content, connections, networking, like the athletes you get to? Like, what do you think is the really thing that's turning the wheel for all these content creators?
Yeah, it's definitely a combination of all that. You gotta have content that people like, obviously. And then you can have connections, but what I've learned that it's so much better to kind of like build your own connections as you go. And then sorry, what are some of the other things you pointed out?
Uniqueness of content, quality, specific athletes, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Or
something
anything else.
else I've learned is just being like some of my favorite content creators are just like the most genuine people I know, and I think athletes really respect that too. It's some it kind of sometimes goes more than the content itself, just being someone that you can rely on, that they know, like, oh, let's get in the gym, and they know they'll be there. Or stuff that even goes past just getting in the gym, getting content up. Like that's something I've tried to work on myself, especially with a lot of stuff that's been going on. Just being the best version of myself that I can be, because people definitely see that way more than how good your content is.
That's great. I love that you said that. That's a great answer. I think everybody's worried about like equipment. Everybody's worried about like lighting and angles, and all this stuff is obviously extremely important. But I think a lot of people miss out on the simple being a genuinely good person and creating relationships. I think it's really important.
Exactly, for sure.
That's kind of a we interviewed Free Alexander and obviously Hugo Schutz before this, but that's like a common theme that we're seeing is it's the relationships. It's not like how sick is your actual content.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And these are all the talented, like the top of the line people saying this stuff too.
Right. I mean, like everyone's content is fantastic. Like it's
Of
amazing.
course. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you ain't gonna get another reference if that kid that you just shot for doesn't like you as a person. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that makes sense. So, I got a random question. I don't want you to name names, but I want to hear a few horror stories about like clients you've worked with. Don't name anybody, don't name teams, but like
Horror stories.
Or games, situations, environments.
yeah, I'm just curious, like, what should people watch out for? Like, any sketchy, like, how did it start? You know, like, anything you got. Tell us a story.
Horror stories. Sheesh, put me on a spot. Well, first, it's not really a story, but I'm still kind of scared. Like every new gym I go into, I'll shoot with my backpack on. Like I'm not putting that down.
How much? Never mind. I was gonna ask how much gear you got, but never mind. I don't even want to know.
Don't get into that.
Don't let the people know. Yeah, yeah.
No receipts. No receipts.
Yeah, exactly.
Shoot, a specific story.
Or you can flip it too.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
I do have a story for you. I'm not gonna name any names, but I was going to an AAU tournament with this team. It's not even in the moment it was a horror story, but afterwards it's not really a horror story. And the bus broke down like in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't really know like that many people at the time on the team, and I was kind of like, what is going on here? And obviously this is kind of earlier on too in my whole timeline, and my parents are like, the bus broke down, I told you, like there's like a bunch of stuff and all that stuff at the same time. Like I was like, it's gonna be right, and it ended up being fine. Like found a new bus. Like we were stuck there for a little while, but the bus literally broke down like on the side of a hill, and it was actually like pretty scary in the moment. So that's one horror story. I
Dude,
got
so how long did it take y'all to get out?
it. Wasn't too it maybe like an hour. It wasn't too bad. Like in a moment, I was like kind of freaking out, but it was fine.
Stranded with people you
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, we were fine.
That's cool. All right, Mac, you got anything else? We'll keep these nice and short.
I don't think so. I love to hear. I love this question you asked a lot of people. Do you have any favorite athletes or favorite teams,
Yep.
specific athletes or situations that you've shot, or like somebody you just love grabbing content for, or if they could just be like an awesome person
Yeah, for sure.
because you've worked with a ton of
A
high
ton.
profile athletes.
As so actually someone that I really respected, especially while filming a lot, was Luca Garza. When he would work out, it'd be like 11 o'clock at night because he has a whole day structured, like probably to the minute. No, like him and his father, the way they do stuff.
Yep.
He was. I feel like I learned stuff watching him work out. He was definitely someone I respected. Um,
Do you remember what his workout was? Just out of curiosity.
there was like two different ones.
Was it an hour? Was it 30 minutes? Was it
It was actually a little shorter. It's probably like maybe 40 minutes.
okay?
But yeah, his like I remember him working on his footwork, doing some sprints, like sprint down the whole court, dunk it, more footwork. That's what I remember the most from the workout. Like, and he was dribbling too, like stuff that you don't see in him doing in games, like behind the back, step back, threes. I was like you gotta do this more in games. Like people don't, if you don't see this, like I'm working on it.
That's why they hire you.
I guess, but yeah, but him for sure. And then I remember some pickup runs they had that summer too with like Earl Timberlake and I think it was Anthony Cowan as well. Those were super dope.
So if you could shoot, if you could be the Cam Beverly or the cool Mac of a specific athlete like Kyler Murray or those guys, what athlete would you want to shoot? What signature athlete would you want to be tied to?
That's super tough.
And I'll phrase it differently. Now or in the future. So you could stick with a high schooler that you know that is probably going to go pro. So
Yeah,
it can be a current stud or it can be a future stud.
yeah. If I had to do someone right now, I want to say Zach LaVine, just because Chicago. I think the Bulls gonna be really good this year.
Mhm.
It should be.
Plus, he's like high flyer. I would love to do Zach LaVine. In the future, there's so many good kids. You know, one that I don't think a lot of people talk about it, who I think is gonna be really good, um, is let me think about this. Yeah, I think Devin Caesar is gonna be crazy.
Who?
Devin Caesar plays. He actually plays my brother's team. I I'm trying to get to as many of their games as possible. Devin Caesar. Yeah, I think he's gonna be crazy
That's good. Well, we'll keep an eye on him.
for sure.
All right, last question, just because I'm curious, just because I've made some very terrible edits myself in the past.
Oh,
So,
no, good.
what is your favorite effect to use? You Final Cut or Premiere Pro?
Premiere Pro.
Favorite effect?
My favorite effect,
Dissolve.
as of recent, I've been messing a lot with kind of like sound effects and stuff. And probably my favorite one is called like low pass. And it basically makes the music sound like you're going underwater. And I think if you find the right way to like mix it in, it's like can make the coolest effects with like slow motion and stuff. Like and you got like the slow motion as the sound is going like underwater. I think like the ways you can mess with that is probably one of my favorite effects.
It's kind of like, didn't you mention Link the World?
Yes, I know
Kind of like
you
his, kind of like
yeah.
his quiet, like yeah,
Sound effects. Yup,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
All right, man. Well, hey, we appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Before we
Yes,
go, is there
sir.
any other shout outs or like where can people follow you? Give yourself a shout out, social media.
for sure. All social medias, Instagram, Twitter at Leprechaun Films. Just thank you guys for having me on again. It's this is all for through Level Sportswear, LVL Sportswear. Um, they're tights, leggings bought one of them at the Creator Media game. Definitely the secret sauce to my good game there.
Put up 30 that game too.
Yeah. Nah, that was a blast. I was like, Brandon, before the game, I went to Brandon. I was like, Brandon, I need something right now. Got him in, 30 points. It was all.
That's what we do, man. That's what we do.
We're gonna put that in our marketing too. Guaranteed 30 piece. If you buy a pair today.
It's the sauce. Quote Leprechaun Films.
Yep. All right, man. Hey, thank you so much. Take it easy.
Okay.
So, man, we'll see you around, bro.
Appreciate it. See you guys.